Today I'm going to look at lesson 10 in the Bucks Point Lace Workbook, and that is using a pattern where you've got distinct holes in the pattern in the ground, and also looking at the use of nook pins. This pattern is the first one to introduce nook pins, and nook pins are usually indents into cloth stitch with the ground worked on the outside. And there are three distinct techniques for working nook pins, and this is the first one. This is the horizontal one, where you have to bring the gimp in and you're still working stitches here to bring it out and round. And we'll look at the techniques for filling in the gaps. Now on the pattern you will see here there is a very close pinhole to the line. Very often you will find this pinhole is actually missed. Here I haven't put the pinhole in, and you can see if I didn't do a stitch here there would be a hole in the ground. So I'm going to look at the techniques for doing this where you've got no pin, but it's teaching you to see that hole before it appears. And this is something that you find with a lot of floral books that you need to do all the time. You need to be watching for these holes, spotting them before they appear, so that you don't need to reverse. This pattern, some of them I've actually put in on the pattern, and other ones like that I've missed out, deliberately to try and get you to see the holes. And on the working diagram I've put little stars in the place where the holes will appear if you don't do this stitch without a pin. I've also marked on here the two nook pins so you know where to look out for them. I've set this edging up with pairs needed for the cloth stitch motif, and I'm now ready to work the first line of the ground. So I'm starting it on this diagonal line, going downhill from this temporary support pin that I've just put in. I'm going to hang another pair on there to start working the ground, and work the point ground down this line in a normal manner. As soon as I've done the first stitch I can take the temporary pin out because it's in half stitch, so it's secured over the pin. Now after I've done the second one, this is where on some of the repeats of the pattern I've put the pin, which I have here, and others it's missing. So I'm going to treat it as if that pinhole isn't there and work the point ground stitch as normal, but don't put the pin in. And then go on to the next one. And this is stitched without a pin. The pin is so close to the previous pin in the actual cloth stitch, it may distort it if you put it in. You just work the stitch as if it's there, but don't put it in. Quite easy. Now I've got down to the last one in the line, so I'm going to push those to one side, and I'm now going to look at this nook pin, which is inside a loop of the gimp, or outside the loop of the gimp even, depending which way you look at it. I'm going to come across in cloth stitch to that pin. Now this nook pin is worked with a pair of passives that sit over it, so this pair of passives is going to go out to do the nook pin. However, on this first type of nook pin, working with the passives, there are no twists. This is quite important. And it's quite contrary to what you've been taught probably in lace so far, that whenever pairs go round a pin, they must have twists on. Again, take the worker out, through the gimp, don't put any twists on. You're then going to work a cloth stitch and put a pin up, no twists, and cover it with a second cloth stitch, no twists, and take the pair back in. Now what this does is make the gimp sit very, very close to the cloth stitch, and this is the first nook pin. And they both come back inside there, and then the pairs can come back in for that next pinhole. The rest of them always have twists on, but nook pins are the exception to the rule. and that's the first vertical nook pin. There are two other types of nook pin within Bucks Point. This is the first one, where you take the passive, you take the worker out, work the pin and go back. The second one is where you have a shape higher than the pin. This one, the worker comes out through the gimp, put 2 twists on and put the pin in to enable the gimp to then go back round what will be the cloth stitch shape to be able to work this. When you come back to this pin, you work a cloth stitch with the pair that's been left there over the gimp and put the pin just under the 2 pairs. You don't try and get it back the other side of the gimp. So you take it, you work with that one, and then you go back and continue to work it. This enables the gimp to go around the shape despite the fact you've not actually worked the pin properly, you've just secured it with the gimp. The third one is where you have a similar situation to the second, but it's the other way up. So this time it's a passive, and you work the pin, you continue to work it, the shape on the left, then you bring the gimp round it, taking pairs out into the ground, and you just pin it and then come back round. So it enables you to work the area inside the gimp before taking the gimp round, and just secure it here. You're just securing it with twists. So the 3 different ways this pattern, pattern 10, deals with the first gimp, the first nook pin, and how to do it. So this will give you a little bit of practice in both stitches without pins and in the first nook pin before going on to the others in subsequent patterns. I hope that's been helpful. Give me a thumbs up, a comment, what you'd like to see next, and I'll work on some more videos which will be coming to this channel very soon. Thanks for watching.